Before I start this week's devotional, I wanted to invite you all to our Ash Wednesday service this coming Wednesday, March 2nd at 2 p.m. in the multi-purpose room. It should be a great time of beginning the Lent season with residents of Aberdeen, but also staff. So again, hope to see you there. Multi-purpose room, 2 p.m. this Wednesday. Now, we're continuing our series, our devotional series in the Gospel of Luke, looking at Jesus' ministry to restore broken hearts, broken spirits, to restore our humanity, our dignity. And it's important to be reminded that Jesus comes to restore, because this world has so many ways of eroding our sense of humanity, our dignity. Some of those ways are ways of our own making as we pursue wealth or pleasure. Some eat away at our dignity as we envy and resent those who have the things that we want. But dignity is not a zero-sum game. It's not either they have it or I have it. We can work together with each other, and as we do so, things can change. If not the world, then at least our family and our community can be transformed into something glorious. Now, the passage we're looking at right now is Luke 19, and Jesus encounters Zacchaeus. Now, Zacchaeus is a tax collector, which means he's a collaborator with the Roman oppressors. He is despised by his community. He's disregarded, perhaps deservedly so. But how does Jesus engage Zacchaeus when he comes across him? Let's look at that. Luke chapter 19, beginning in verse 1. He entered Jericho, that's Jesus, and was passing through, and behold, there was a man named Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was rich. And he was seeking to see who Jesus was, but on account of the crowd he could not, because he was small in stature. So he ran on ahead and climbed up into a sycamore tree to see him, for he was about to pass that way. And when Jesus came to the place, he looked up and said to him, Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today. So he hurried and came down and received him joyfully. And when they saw it, they all grumbled, he has gone in to be the guest of a man who is a sinner. And Zacchaeus stood and said to the Lord, Behold, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor, and if I have defrauded anyone of anything, I restore it fourfold. And Jesus said to him, Today salvation has come to this house, since he also is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost. Now, there's lots of interesting things in this passage, but the thing most Bible commentators talk about is Zacchaeus' keen interest to see Jesus. Now, Zacchaeus seems to think that no one would care about the fact that he's short in stature and he's not going to be able to see Jesus because of the crowds. No one's going to help him, so he's going to take care of himself. He runs ahead and he climbs up in a tree. Not the most dignified thing for a man, a mature adult man, let alone a distinguished man. But he did it because he wanted to see Jesus, because he didn't think anyone else cared to help him. He didn't think he would be seen. And that can be hard on the soul when we think and believe that we're not seen by anybody, let alone people that care about us. I remember many years ago, when I was a young man, I was visiting a friend at a church. Now, he grew up in a Korean church, and I was looking forward to the cultural experience of being in that worship setting and then going to fellowship meal after, and the food. I love Korean food. And there was a group of men my age, in our 20s, and I was just sitting next to them, and they were chatting, and I thought, well, I'll try to engage in conversation, and I tried to ask a question and interject, and some people sort of turned their head to look at me very briefly and then turned back to their conversation as if I wasn't there. And my mind went to that famous work by Ralph Ellison, The Invisible Man and Not Being Seen. It was a small slight. I was a stranger, and certainly that's not my experience most of the time. Here in America, people are ready to engage me, but it was a moment of feeling disregarded. And Zacchaeus feels disregarded. He feels unseen. But when Jesus came, he saw Zacchaeus. And when Jesus came to the place, he looked up and said to him, "Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today." I see you, Zacchaeus. I want to spend some time with you. He was affirming Zacchaeus as a person, as a human being, and he was taking into account his inherent dignity, even restoring it. And when we want to affirm and even restore people's dignity, we must see them. When you pass somebody in the hall, look them in the eye. Ask them how they're doing. Give them the time they need to actually tell you how they are doing. And giving that attention, regarding them enough to listen, means they are someone worth listening to. And that's powerful. Disregard is a kind of neglect. But when we think of the attention Christ has given us in his life, in his death, in his resurrection, the sacrifice that he made for us, when we think of the riches that we have in that love, we can afford to regard other people and to see them. Do that this week. I hope to see you at the Ash Wednesday service, again, 2 p.m. in the multi-purpose room. God bless you all.